You are listening to Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. Let's jump into these charts. Check out Bitcoin. Man, a booming day. And of course, we see around, what was this? That the 12, 15, 95-minute chart, things hit their peak. Again, we look at the high for Bitcoin back on the week beginning the 11th of March. What did it stroke up to? 73,794. Today, what was the high? And we can see it here on this 2-day chart. We look at what the high was, and it was 73,600. So 73,600 versus 73,794. We are near that all-time high. And boy, it's been really chugging up these last 3 weeks. We look at the weekly chart on the 24-hour a day Bitcoin chart. We don't see the volume there. It did hit average volume last week, moving up in volume, but those weeks before, not doing it. In fact, we had a pullback week on the 7th. But again, as we watch, particularly when you look on the 195-minute chart, when Bitcoin took off on Monday, the 28th, that was early in the morning hours at 2:30, it has just plugged away, pulling back some in the afternoon, starting on that 3:30 p.m. 195-minute candle, dropped off where it peaked up so close to touching the prior high. Now, let's see. We see what's going on with Bitcoin there. What is going on with Ethereum? Well, Ethereum, up 1.73% right now, but nothing like what Bitcoin has been on. In fact, over the last 3 weeks, well, particularly those weeks 3 and 2 going back, that was the 23rd of October and the 25th, really hammering down. And then last week, a red spinning top. This week, a green up candle. Volume's been decent on all of those weeks. In fact, all the way to the week where we saw the prior peak being the 21st of October, we had okay volume. And so what's going on with Ethereum? It's sure not taking off like Bitcoin has been doing. We do see on the weekly volume it's okay, but isn't popping up like Bitcoin. Now we take a look at Bitwise, which is top 10 cryptocurrencies weighted as per market share, Bitcoin being the big dog. We can see where it had a stellar week with the high as far as that goes back on the 14th of October. Not as high last week, but pushing higher this week. Up for the day, 6.24%. Bitcoin itself, 2.90. So a big day in the morning and afternoon for BITW. Let's move from cryptocurrencies over to a few commodities that we've been tracking. Sugarcane, again, still drifting sideways and down. This week not reaching the lower low yet, but again, you can see all these dojis here just sort of tracking along the downtrend. Had a little bit of an update today, but again, not punching through that down weekly trend line. Not much of a trend line, I will admit. Corn, well, let us push through its trend line, but again, a red down candle forming on the 2-day chart. And we see that was for the Friday and Monday, hammered and down quite a bit, sliding sideways and up a little bit, 0.51% for the day on Tuesday. What do we see with copper? Copper's about flat for the day, and again, just sort of lackluster. I mean, we see where copper peaked back on September 23rd that week, and then started slowing down, and then just sort of, again, moving on down below the weekly trend line on the 2-day and the half-day. Silver. Silver took off a lot last week. This is an up day for silver, but it's not hit the high of last week. Smaller candle. We'll see if the volume gets up there. The 2-day chart's been losing volume, so we'll keep an eye on things and see where things move down, and looks like they're trying to get a little energy and move up decently for the day. Like I said, 2.15%. Nat gas. What do we see going on with the natural gas fund. It had moved up for a few weeks toward the end of September, but then moving down. This was a little bit of an up day. You don't see it really reflected in the chart on the half day. You can see where things really dropped off on Monday after moving up over last week. And you got to forgive me for my coughing. I'm doing my best, my friends. I'm so sorry. I was diagnosed, as I've told you, several times with pneumonia on Sunday, but you can't keep a good man down, and I will continue to push ahead and provide as long as you forgive me for some coughing. I think I got it under control for now. So we look at wheat. Wheat, of course, nice up day for wheat, 1.79%, but overall on the weekly and the 2-day, things are drifting down for the food stock. Now, lastly, let's take a look. I always enjoy this. Love taking a look at what's going on with our world currencies. We can see, of course, where the British pound went up to an interim high, and that was literally on a doji week, the 30th of September, and then rolled over up a little bit for the day, but still on the 2-day and half day below that weekly trend line, still downward pressure. What about the euro? Well, nice being over there traveling because, of course, the euro went from a peak to, really heading down for the last several weeks, up a little bit for the day, 0.02%, so 0.02%, not a lot. Things may be trying to level out. You can see where the euro has just drifted, and then around the 23rd of October, trying to move up a little bit, and then, just sort of sliding sideways over these last several days. What do we see on the Japanese yen? Well, Japanese are being successful in deflating their currency as they wanted to do, down for the day 0.15%. You can see that once it peaked, looks like they were able to get some control of it and move it on down. That is where we are with our currency. So that wraps up everything for Charting Cryptos, Commodities, and Currencies. Thank you for putting up with all my coughing. I do apologize for that. I'm trying to get well as fast as I can. God bless you, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. It's so great to be back home.